Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, I have come to set the earth on fire, and how I wish it were already blazing. There is a baptism with which I must be baptized, and how great is my anguish until it is accomplished. Do you think I have come to establish peace on earth? No, I tell you, but rather division. From now on, a household of 5 will be divided, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. A father will be divided against his son, and son against his father. A mother against her daughter, and a daughter against her mother. A mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I have come to set the earth on fire. How I wish it were already blazing. This desire of Jesus. Well, when we are finally sick and tired of a culture of mass shooting and strife, I pray that perhaps we might finally embrace our Heavenly Father's fire for a culture, a Catholic culture of life. Let us rid ourselves of every burden and sin that clings to us and persevere in running the race that lies before us, keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus. Yes, a people, a church, a parish that stands for Jesus Christ. Because if you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. So we stand for Christ's truth over opinions. We stand for Christian morality over the I feel good morality of emotionalism. How about these emotions if you want to have your morality of emotionalism? Anger, hatred, bitterness, lust, envy, jealousy. Well, those are wonderful emotions. But God gave us the gift of reason. And with grace, we don't have to let these things be our morality. We stand for the living God. We stand for the living God who loves us. God so loved the world that he gave his only Son. There he is. Not a selfish, self-seeking, self-gratification love, but the love of self-giving, the love of Christ crucified, that demonstrates the truth of love is not from taking, but it is from giving. That he would give us life, and we share life with one another in loving as he loves. Life-giving love, not a culture that sacrifices infants on the altar of Planned Parenthood, but a culture that sacrifices for the sake of its children. Not a culture of sacrificing children, Indeed, that's an opening to the demonic, isn't it, as we see. Behold, the fruit of this culture of sacrificing infants, this culture of death, it's all around us. It's what we're seeing now in the strife of the world, in the strife of our nation. It's the culture of murder. I was reminded of a Calvin and Hobbes cartoon this week. How many remember Calvin and Hobbes? Somebody gave me all the comic books a few years ago, and I just dutifully read them. Wonderful. So Calvin is standing under a sign in this particular comic, and it says, "Kick in the butt, $1." And Hobbes comes along and says, "How's business?" And Calvin says, "Awful. And I don't know why, because so many people need a good kick." Let us rid ourselves of every burden and sin and cling. And let us rid ourselves of every burden and sin that clings to us and persevere in running the race that lies before us, keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus. And so we stand for Jesus Christ, keeping the Holy Sabbath. We stand for Jesus Christ at the Holy Mass. We stand for Jesus Christ faithfully receiving the Holy Eucharist. We stand for Jesus Christ as a people who pray daily, taking time daily to encounter Christ, to continue to fill us and enliven us in his culture of life. Jesus prayed, as I read in the beginning, as we read in the gospel, "I have come to light a fire. How I wish it were already blazing." Our stand for Christ is the answer to that prayer of his. Imagine we can answer the prayer of Jesus. You can answer the prayer of Jesus.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui aquam meruisti portare